Dog finds freezing bear cubs in barn. Now they're raising puppies together. The bitter Montana wind howled through the Cascade foothills like a mournful spirit, rattling the warped windows of Margaret Maggie Carter's weathered farmhouse. At 74, Maggie had grown accustomed to the relentless winters that gripped the land near Glacier National Forest. The isolation suited her, a quiet companion to the memories of her late husband, Henry, and their son, Michael, who now lived far away in Bozeman. But this morning, as the clock ticked toward dawn on January 15, 2025, felt different, colder, more urgent. The thermometer outside her kitchen window read -15 degrees Fahrenheit, its red line trembling against the glass. Beyond the frost-etched panes, the world resembled a monochrome photograph, drained of all color save for the stark white snow and the muted grays of the dormant forest. Maggie had been dreaming of Henry again, his warm hand enveloping hers as he read the morning paper aloud, the scent of coffee mingling with the sizzle of bacon. The dream was a fragile cocoon, shielding her from the solitude that had defined the 3 years since his passing. But that sanctuary shattered when Sunny's frantic barking pierced the pre-dawn darkness. The 12-year-old golden retriever stood at the back door, her hackles raised, amber eyes wide with distress. She pawed at the wooden frame with an urgency Maggie had never witnessed, glancing back toward the forest edge before fixing her gaze on her owner with a pleading intensity. "What is it, girl?" Maggie whispered, her arthritic fingers fumbling with the heavy winter coat Henry had once worn. The sleeves dangled past her wrists, a poignant reminder of her diminished frame, but it was the warmest garment she owned. Sunny whimpered, a sound laden with unspoken urgency, then nosed the door open and bounded into the snow, her golden fur dusted with white crystals almost instantly. She paused briefly to ensure Maggie followed before heading toward the tree line with determined purpose. The snow reached Maggie's knees in places, forming drifts that tested her resolve with every laborious step. Her boots sank and slid as she trailed Sunny's tracks through the pristine landscape. The old woodshed, a relic of Henry's craftsmanship from 40 years ago, stood 100 yards from the house, nestled against towering pines marking the wilderness's edge. Once a hub of activity when Wood heated their home and Michael stacked logs, it now sagged under snow, its contents rotted or frozen. Maggie hadn't visited it in years, but Sunny's path was unwavering. As they neared the dilapidated structure, a faint whimper reached Maggie's ears, so soft she nearly dismissed it as imagination. Sunny's ears perked, and she navigated around the shed's side where loose boards gapped the wall. The sound grew clearer, real and desperate. Peering into the shadowy interior, Maggie's breath caught. Huddled among ice-covered firewood remnants were 3 small, dark shapes. Bear cubs, no more than a few months old. Their black fur was matted with frost, eyes wild yet exhausted, reflecting a struggle against the cold that mirrored Maggie's own battles with loneliness. The smallest cub, barely larger than a house cat, shivered violently between its siblings. Maggie's rational mind screamed to leave, wild animals potentially dangerous, their mother likely near. The proper course was to call wildlife authorities. Yet, as she stood in the biting cold, memories of Henry's kindness and the empty rooms of her home flooded her. Sunny, undeterred, lowered her head to the smallest cub, touching its forehead with a tender nose. The cub leaned into the contact, and tears welled in Maggie's eyes. Moved by an inexplicable force, perhaps Henry's lingering spirit, she knelt, lifting the cub against her chest, naming it Smokey for its soot-colored fur. The second cub, with a white chest patch, she called Shadow. The third, alert and solid, became Honey for its golden highlights. Cradling them, Maggie trudged back, Sunny close by. Inside, she nestled them near the fireplace, building a nest from Henry's wool blankets. The cub's shallow breathing and low body temperatures alarmed her, but Sunny positioned herself as their guardian. For hours, Maggie warmed milk, using old baby bottles from Michael's infancy to feed them. Smokey required an eyedropper, Shadow struggled, but Honey latched eagerly. By evening, their strength grew, and Maggie called Dr. James Harris, her longtime vet. Jim advised contacting the Wildlife Center in Kalispell but acknowledged the storm's impassable roads. He guided Maggie through cub care, warning of imprinting risks. That night, humming Henry's lullabies, Maggie felt purpose return. The storm lasted a week, and the farmhouse transformed into a nursery. Smokey, Shadow, and Honey thrived, playing and bonding with Sunny, who taught them games like fetch. As spring approached, their growth and attachment posed challenges, confirmed by Jim's visit. He suggested a wildlife center, but Shadow's injury in a hunter's trap shifted Maggie's perspective. She chose a semi-wild enclosure over release. The 2-acre enclosure, built with local help, featured logs, a stream, and brush. The cubs adapted, exploring while Sunny guarded. Summer brought Sunny's pregnancy, and the cubs tenderly cared for her 5 puppies. Their unique family, bears and dogs, defied nature, filling Maggie's home with life. As the cubs chose to return nightly, Maggie found peace, imagining Henry's approval. The forest loomed wild, but her corner of Montana held a new family, built on love and choice, sustaining her through future seasons.